Stephen Curry is a madman. I don't know if you guys saw the game yesterday, but yesterday we had two really good games from actually opposing teams, from the Warriors and the Wizards. So, what we saw yesterday was that we had these two teams, and we saw that both of these teams had games, and the two guys who were competing for that position at Golden State, or at least the two guys that were looking for it, had both incredible games. Steph Curry and Jordan Poole. Steph Curry, I'm going to focus on this video as I already did one on that Wizards game, dropped 30 points on really efficient shooting and played 30 minutes. Now, of course, this has to do with a lot of things, so I want to break it down and I want to talk about this game right now. So, first I want to say that it was the Kings versus the Warriors. Obviously, a playoff rivalry as they went 7 games, and the way that they play and both of these teams play are so punch, counterpunch, punch, counterpunch, that they make always for great games. These two teams, even if one has a lead, it never really feels certain until you get to the point where it's the end of the game, and even then we might have a close game. The biggest blowout that I've ever seen from these guys was that 50-point game that Steph had in a Game 7, and it's obvious that the Kings getting better this season, getting guys like Chris Duarte, fixing up their starting lineup, and basically just bringing the same guys back, has made them be a team which is very competitive and wants to come back this season to actually do something again this season and not lose what they built up over the past year. With that being said, there's a guy named Stephen Curry, which just was hitting everything. He hit 8 of 12 from 3, if I'm not mistaken, right? And it looked like he was just out there having fun. He hit 10 of 18 from the field. And it was like, Steph, what's good with you, right? He shot extremely good efficiency, I think around 60%. And he had 30 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. And even though, yes, he had 5 turnovers, he hit that game winner, so you have to respect everything that he did this game. This game was basically a game where Golden State tested out their starting lineup, just threw them out there, and we're like, let's see, this is a team which is good. It's actually going to give us a run for their money, and they're actually putting their starting lineup out there, and they're going to play them for actually a good amount of minutes. So let's see how it goes. First, I want to say that obviously this is not real NBA minutes. Yes, most of these guys played 30 minutes, but let's face it, if this game happened in the playoffs, most of these guys would be playing 35 to 36 minutes. I just want to say that because, the last time we saw these teams, there weren't as many people who played. And this game, we did see a bunch of guys who normally don't get that call up, in an important game to play. But I want to say that first, I like how Chris Paul fit into the Warriors. He played 30 minutes and he had 13 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds, and shot 4 of 6 from the field and 3 of 3 from 3. This shows exactly what Chris Paul's supposed to bring. A guy who can make to the Warriors, get it done, and really play a lot of minutes, meanwhile just being effective and making the team run smoothly. It's obvious that he fits in with the team and that he's not negative. And now when we look at the Warriors this game, we could see that everything that he did was really good because Klay Thompson was terrible. Chris Paul being there really made it easier for a guy like Klay Thompson to be able to have a bad game this game, which he had 5.7 rebounds, 4 assists on 20% shooting. But it made it easier for Klay to be able to have this bad game and not feel that bad from it, because you have a guy like Chris Paul, which is going to make everyone else much better. Andrew Wiggins shot 70% and just looked like everything he was shooting or doing was making, the right plays. Jonathan Kuminga keeps his tear going, shooting 50% and having 18 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. And also I want to talk about the fact that, apart from that Draymond didn't play, Trace Jackson Davis, which is just like a 6'9" forward for the Warriors, had 13 points and 10 rebounds. Shout out to him. Obviously, I think that's the Chris Paul effect, where Chris Paul can just make any player look phenomenal. but let's face it, it's still very important. For the Kings, we can see that De'Aaron Fox went crazy, especially in that fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox hit a clutch layup, which should have been the game, but it wasn't. So now we see that he had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. He shot terribly from 3, and it's obvious that he hasn't gotten his shooting back to 100% yet. But we have seen him still be that guy who's going to carry them forward and in the clutch moments be able to clutch out. Keegan Murray played really well. From the field, he was great. From 3, he was shaky. He played 36 minutes, got 24 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Yes. Demonis Sabonis also played really well, almost having a triple-double. 40% from the field. He had 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 12 points as a center, which is obviously phenomenal. And Kevin Huerter just missed. In my opinion, the biggest differentiator in this game was efficiency. Golden State shot 50% from 3, 50% from the field, and they just looked like a team which, even though they had trouble hitting their free throws at 66%, they just looked like a team which actually knew what they were doing this game. It didn't look like they were running stupid plays. It didn't look like their guys were, not ready for this game. It looked like everyone knew exactly what to expect, and like they've been training hard to be able to make the changes in their roster seamless. Draymond didn't play. I imagine he was injured. He was fully clothed in the bench in the second quarter. So I just want to say that because he didn't touch the floor this game, so they could be scarier with him there, especially the fact that they have him for so many years. But I just really want to say that this Warriors team looks amazing. With the Kings, I love the Kings. Oh my God, they're amazing. I know I already talked about their stats, but I just want to talk about them as a team. They look phenomenal. The fact that they took this Golden State team, which was extremely overachieving, they were losing their third or their fourth best player in Draymond, right? They shot 50% from 3 and 50% from the field. And the Kings still managed to counterpunch enough to actually make this game just a 1-point game was phenomenal. Obviously, Golden State's and their third quarters are not understated how important they are, and especially that comeback that they had in the end of the second quarter. But I do want to say the shout out to the Kings for keeping it competitive. Something I did want to talk about is Steph reaching his 2018 LeBron form or his 98 Jordan form. And it's when a player gets so experienced and they've been for so long in the league, they've already won enough championships to the point where they just kind of have the NBA figured out. This is like the 2011 Dirk. This is like KG in 2008. And it's these seasons where you see a player just look completely unreal in the way that they play the game because it just seems like it's easy to them. Player who has this is Jokic, which surprises me that he looks like that when he's so young compared to other old players. But Steph really looks like he's figured out the NBA. He knows exactly how to get to his spots, exactly which shots he needs to make and which shots, not to make. It looks like it's easy for him, just to play normally and to be there consistently. And he's looked like there's been no flaw in his game apart from maybe defense, which he's gotten better at in the recent times. He figured out how to be clutch consistently, and honestly, Stephen Curry looks like he just took the NBA and is like, okay, I know exactly what to do. Obviously this comes from veteran status. This looks like a lot like 2021 Chris Paul, and with enough players that have been in the NBA for enough time, you just start kind of seeing that parts of their game dip off that don't matter as much, so they could focus more energy on the important parts of their game. And we could see really Steph getting into that mode as he's always there when the big shot is needed. He knows how to get into the lanes. He knows how to get a good pass. He knows how to draw a foul. And he knows when to really make the shots, that are going to put his team in a good position. I want to say shout out to the Warriors because honestly, they came back from a huge deficit from the Kings. They were down 94-77, which is about 17 points in the fourth quarter. And then they just, after blow after blow, they got that point deficit to keep diminishing until they won. I want to say that Stephen Curry 3, I don't know if you guys saw it, was phenomenal. He hit the game-winning buzzer beater. I know this is a preseason game, but I need to know your opinions on this, and I need you to, I'll see you next video, but really go look at the highlights. Like, I'm really impressed by this game.